Hi, everyone. Hey, Laura. Hi, everyone. My name is Bill Soroka, founder of NotaryCoach.com, and this is Tuesday Notary Titans for Tuesday, August 11th, 2020. I'm here with my fabulous co-host, Carol Ray, founder of Notary to Pro. Carol, thanks for being here. I saw that you just muted yourself. We can't hear you. You're muted.
I'm so illiterate when it comes to this technical stuff. I'm going crazy lately. Oh my God.
Well, good. I'm glad you're here. I'm sorry you're going crazy. Thanks for being here. What are you excited about this week, Carol?
Oh, you don't want to ask me. I got so much to talk about today.
We only have an hour.
First of all, I'm very excited because we finally, after all these years, have gone automated. And it's just such a blessing. I can't even tell you. So Barbara's got so much more time to be creative. I have more time. I'm going to be starting to do what I've been wanting to do forever, which is lots of videos about all the questions, that newbies have. And I can do videos now and put them in our libraries and mentoring. I've got so much more time. And that's all I have to do. I don't have to worry about bookkeeping, new students, sending receipts, welcome letters, all that stuff. So I'm thrilled about it. And I have some announcements. Do you want me to wait?
No, this is perfect time.
Okay, good. Oh, I want to take advantage as many people are here. And I know it takes a little bit for them to get in. But
yeah, you want to wait to the end?
Yeah, let me, or maybe once we kind of get rolling a little bit, maybe after you and Laura talk about, and then I'll do it.
We'll take a commercial break in about 20 minutes. How about that, Carol?
That would be great.
All right. Sounds good. Laura Biewer, thank you so much for being here, founder of CoachMeLaura.com and the Laura Biewer Presents Training Library, one of the best specialty notary work trainings on the internet. Thank you so much for being here. What's going on? What are you excited about this week?
Everything. There isn't anything that I'm not excited about. Everything I'm excited about. But particularly, Symposium's almost sold out, guys. I only have a few seats left, and then we're done. And I know it's not even till November. We didn't even make it out of early bird. But the 250 of you that will be fortunate enough to be with us that day, I get to spend all my time thinking about all the ways I'm going to make this fun, engaging, exciting. And so that is just fabulous, beyond my expectations. And thank you for, one, being a part of it, but also supporting the effort to do this kind of event. It tells people that notaries are hungry for knowledge and for participating and for networking and for being a part of their industry. So that's very exciting. The other exciting thing is I got this. I don't even know if I can show it, but this huge box that says Brave Thinking on it is called a wisdom library, because we can't know it all, right? Sometimes we gotta read books, we need to attend seminars, we need to make sure that we're staying on top of our own game before we can even begin to suggest we can help you. And so this is my latest and greatest that I'm working on. I am a book reader, so I love being able to tackle that. There's, I don't know, about 35 different books in there for me to tackle. Yeah, so a lot going on there. And it would take the whole time as well for me to say everything else that's great. So I'm going to ask you, what's happening for you that's great, Bill?
Oh, hey, thanks. Well, I've got all kinds of awesome stuff happening right now. I'm usually pretty good about communicating that to everybody who subscribes to the email, and I really appreciate it. I love being here with you guys. I'm going to take this opportunity, though, to make this a PSA in case you do not follow me on Instagram or email. Guys, the reason I have shaved my beard and the reason I've got these red marks starting to come through finally after a week is I am going through a treatment because I have pre-cancer found on my face. And I have talked to my team of dermatologists and medical teams, and they have told me part of the risk that we have as mobile notaries and loan signing agents is because we are on the road a lot. And even in environments where we don't think we're directly in the sun, but the UV index is high, that left side of our face sometimes is very vulnerable to the sun. So using this time just to remind you to wear sunblock, protect yourself, take care of yourself, and get your skin checks every single year so you can catch this stuff early like I did in my team. So now, without further ado, let's jump in and, oh, real quick, guys, I'm going to mute everybody so I can grant everybody the ability to unmute themselves real quick. Okay, sorry, Carol, Laura, I've muted you, but you can unmute yourself. Okay, so we are going to give away some awesome prizes today. Carol has a fantastic, awesome tool that she's going to be giving away. I'm going to be giving away a cool prize. Laura, I know you've been brainstorming. I think you came up with something too. So this is totally free, only available if you're live on the call. We'll do this after we ask all the questions. Let me just copy and paste this in there. I'm going to copy and paste it into the chat window. If you're just listening and you can't see the chat window, it's notarycoach.com/prize. That is the word. You can register just once. We'll register you for all 3 prizes. Let's dive in. Neil, thank you so much for being patient. I see your hand up. How can we help?
Good afternoon. I'm Neil here in Phoenix. And my question is, can you guys elaborate on what is meant by backdating? It seemed to be some confusion out here. So can you tell us exactly, can you explain what exactly is happening when you backdate a document?
Excellent. Laura, do you want to take the lead on backdating?
Yes. All right. So backdating, there's just the generic way of having that happen is when in your certificate, I'm not talking about the document, but in the certificate, you're purposely putting yesterday or further in the past date when it's really today. And so you're making it sound in your certificate like the person appeared yesterday or the week before that or whenever, maybe originally when you really met with that person. And so this comes up because sometimes you will get a signing service or title company who doesn't understand that we cannot create a certificate with the date previous to match up to some other documents. And that might happen because an error happened and you had to recreate a certificate. Now, there are states that don't address it in their laws. There are states that do address it that say it's okay to correct a certificate and leave the original date. And then there are some states like mine, California, that says forget about it. It's like doing it all over again. You'll have to re-notarize. You have to be with the signer. It's a new date, the whole 9 yards, which creates a real problem because when title companies talk to different signing agents in different states, the rule is different, right? So they're saying, hey, the last notary did it. Well, maybe the last notary wasn't in my state and they could, right? So it's very important that you know what's allowed in your state. And it's okay for the document to have been previous or even in the future, because it is not the document date that I'm certifying. It is the day that I notarize that person's signature.
And I would like to add something to that. If you're not aware of, I've said this before, but back in the day when loan officers ran rampant, I had been threatened, literally threatened that they were going to blackball me and I was never going to work again if I didn't backdate, because backdating meant that they were squeezing their commission into that month. All that was they would try to intimidate you to backdate the documents so that they could get their commission instead of waiting 1 month. And of course, I always refused, but it just brings up a good point. No matter what anybody says to you, you've always got to do what's right and what's legal. Don't let them threaten you that they're not going to do anything. They can't.
Excellent. Great question, Neil. Did we answer it for you?
Yeah, I think I understand. Just to clarify, it only involves notarial certificates. If, say, for example, a lender forgot to put in just a regular document that needs to be signed and dated, and they want you to go out the next day, but this date for the date you did the original signing, that wouldn't be considered backdating?
That would, Laura, do you
Well,
want to?
you know, here's the deal, is that that's between the signer and the lender. That's really not my business. As far as an unnotarized document goes. So
okay.
I'm not saying that you couldn't call that backdating, But what I'm saying is the problem for the notary is when they want you to do that for a notary certificate.
Right. Okay.
That help clarify?
Yes.
All right, beautiful. Thanks, Neil. Great question. Gloria, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for your patience. You want to unmute? Tell us what state you're in and ask your question. Gloria. Gloria going once? We'll come back to you, Gloria. Hi, Hank.
Hey, Bill.
Hey there.
How you guys doing? All right?
Doing good. Tell us what state you're in and what's going on.
All right. I'm in New York. I had two things. One of them's small and one's, well, it's not a big deal either. I had my first mistake in one of they sent the document back because I didn't include non-borrower who's on the mortgage. No, not the mortgage, the deed of trust on a refinance affidavit. So I took care of it. Took me an hour, get it done, sent it back. So no big deal. The problem I'm struggling with in this business, I can't seem to get a stamp. Every time I go to stamp, I always got to do it twice. You know, either I had to print out another page. Sometimes I put pressure on the stamp from the top. Sometimes I put it from the side. Sometimes I put my fingers on the top. You guys struggled with the stamp when you're first starting out?
Well, yeah, to a certain extent, I think. Maybe not to what you're describing. I've stamped upside down quite often. That's usually a pretty easy fix. But are you? What's your biggest challenge? Is it putting too much pressure on one side so it gets blurry or shaky?
Yeah,
or
it might. I think it's too much pressure because either it's light and not clear enough, or it's too much ink. So I'm trying to see if I'm rocking my hand back and forth or not. So hopefully that's not it. But I you know, it was a little struggle. But something I think in time it'll work its way.
It does. The struggle is definitely real, but you also want to make sure it could be something wonky with your stamps. Sometimes if you get these budget stamps, they don't work right. They kind of click on your way down, so you press too hard. So that very well could be part of the problem, or it could just be you getting familiar with it. Laura, Carol, you got any suggestions for these types of things?
Is it self-inking or is he putting the ink?
It's the mini ink from NNA, the mini one.
So I have that stamp. I've never had a problem with it, but I will tell you, when I first get my stamp, I get a blank piece of paper, and I saw Matt suggested this, and I work with it so I get a feel for what the pressure is that I need, even from one commission to another, and I've changed, you know, from one mini stamp to the next. I do a little practice work with it so that I get the feel of that, because some stamps require a little more pressure, some a little less pressure. So that's all I can tell you right on the whole. If you suspect that there's a problem with the stamp, you just can't seem to get it to work right, I would call customer support at the NNA, because they warranty their stamps for the entire commission. And if there's a real problem, they'll just replace it.
Okay, maybe I'll do that one. And I thought of maybe buying probably a little bigger one also.
Yeah, if your state allows you to have multiple stamps, that's not a bad idea. Hank, thanks for sharing that. I know lots of people can relate to it. All right, Gloria, are you? There you go. All right. Hey, Gloria, what state are you in?
I'm Gloria Holt from California. And I wanted to share something for fellow Californians that are just signed up. There's a signing company called Patriot Sign. And
what's it called?
Really a great way to get experience with presentations, because the docs, you never need scan backs. It's almost the same package every time. And they kind of place you within about 10 miles, which is great for me because of the high density here. And there's only like about 10 items to notarize, but I guess that's about average, because they're mostly refis done by the owning corporation. That company is very, very aggressive online, and a lot of people are refinancing. So it's a good way to get your practice in. I just thought I'd share that.
Thank you. That was PAC Doc Sign, P-A-C.
Yeah, PAC-DOC. It stands for Pacific Doc Signing.
Perfect. Ron Lev posted that.
It's a cool way for experience.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate you sharing that, Gloria. I know lots of people will. Thank you, guys. Tom from Austin, thanks for being here. What's going on? How can we help? Tom, you got to unmute yourself first. Tom from Austin, go.
Hey,
there you go. Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, Tom from Austin, hot and sweaty and humid here. Pat's got one question and then a kind of follow up on something you helped me with last week. Still trying to get up and running. Got your scanner that you told me about coming. I was looking at a all-in-one printer. Well, the 5200 and the 6200, I am playing all kinds of heck trying to find them. They're either out of stock, or if you go to Amazon, they'll direct you to somebody else that's selling them for like $200 to $300 more. Ooh. So yes, I mean, I'm looking at the 6200 because the 5200 is now discontinued. 6200 sells for $319, and I've seen it go as high as $584. Wow. So I got them. I'm on a waiting list to get them. I just wonder if anybody had any other places they've been looking at and haven't had the problem getting printers.
That's a great question. I have seen that I've seen in the chatter of the forums that they're running low. Carol though has some favorites in the HP. I think we talked about it last week.
A place in Texas.
Oh, well, no, that was the refurbished ones.
Yeah.
Which you can definitely email Carol for that as well. But there's lots of great suggestions popping up into the chat window. So I know people are finding them. It's just a matter of where they are.
And by the way, the fellow in Texas,
yeah,
he's not returning calls now. I think he ran out. He had so many people calling him that I got a message actually yesterday from somebody that said he's not returning my call. So sorry guys, if you didn't get it already, I think you missed out.
The other question I had was regarding when you get a loan package, you get it signed and you scan it back to the company. The originals, do they usually give you a FedEx number on that to send it back, or are we usually paying for those?
As far as shipping documents back?
Yeah.
Yeah, they will send you, your hiring company will give you a FedEx label or UPS label or whatever it is. Very rarely do you have to pay for the shipping. Every now and then it'd be like the exception to the rule. They'll ask you to do it, but you can charge them for it too. So it's not coming out of your pocket.
All right. Well, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, Tom. Thanks for being here.
Got your book.
If you don't get a label, call them. If you don't get a label, call them and tell them right away.
They forget them all the time.
Much, guys.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Janine, thank you for being here. You want to unmute, tell us what state you're in and share your question, your story. What's going on? Janine, going once. Janine, you have to unmute. All right, we'll skip you for right now. Edie, thanks for being here from Hawaii. What's going on? How can we help?
Hi, aloha. I wanted to just ask, in Hawaii, we have to use a stamp with all our notaries that says the name of the document, how many pages. Mm-hmm. When I'm doing a loan package, can I just attach my own Hawaii certificate, or do I have to fill that out and then, if there's no room for the stamp, I still have to attach? I just want to know the best practice on how to take care of that.
Yeah, great question. I'm going to pass it over to Laura because this is right up her alley.
Yeah, you could use your Hawaii certificate for the most part. There are a couple states that do not allow for attachments. Maryland is one of those states. So say if it was a property in that state, they specifically will not allow attachments, and you need to find a way to make it work on the document. I've had to there's another one. I've had to actually write out my jurat totally by hand to fit it on the document with my stamp, and then I used a mini stamp because they will not allow for that. But that's really uncommon. For the most part, since I know Hawaii has that requirement, then I would attach.
Thank you. And can't wait to see you in Hawaii, Bill. I'm your host.
Definitely. That's on the radar for sure. Thank you so much, Edie. Janine, I'm going to go back to you. Are you ready? Can you unmute? Not quite. All right. Kenya, thanks for being here. You want to unmute? Tell us what state you're in and ask your question.
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Oh, you're Janine, you're back. Okay.
Okay, I
Kenya, we'll come back to you.
apologize. Yes, I'm sorry, I was having some difficulties.
No problem at all. Happens all the time. What's going on?
Okay. I have some good news to share, if it's okay. Well, two things I want to share, and I'll make them quick. A couple of weeks ago, I don't know if y'all remember, I had asked a question about the video where I had a client where I did a notary video using Zoom actually, and everything. So I got a chance to get in contact with the state of Alabama, and they informed me that our governor, Kay Ivey, here in Alabama, she passed something stating that we can do a video notary. We just haven't been set up to do the run yet, but she sent me the information through email. So if y'all ever need me to send that to you all, for anybody that's in Alabama, I'd be more than happy to send that information regarding the video. But I can't tell you what the price, what you would charge for that, because it don't say. So
Of course not. No problem. Thanks, Janine.
Okay. And the last thing I wanted to mention, I think a while back, some people have said how they've had issues with when they're doing a signing and they need to get in contact with the signing company. And a lot of times they, I think it's an echo. Is that me?
Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. And I guess the issue was that, they don't hear back from them in time. So what I've done, I did some creative thinking. I had that situation happen to me. So what I did was when an agency don't get back with me right away, I had a document where I wasn't sure if I signed or not. So I did one where I signed and stamped and one without. And I put a Post-it note on there saying that I tried to call and couldn't get through. So then I put it in the shipment for FedEx. So I covered all bases in the event, if the signing service never get back to me and I might be under time constraints. So that's just an idea that I thought I'd throw out there. And that's it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate that. I know a lot of people find that helpful, and I do something similar too, especially when you run into situations on the 1003 or sometimes the 4506, the request for tax transcripts. It's not clear. Do they want the husband and wife to sign or not? They might have both, or a company name or something. So you can definitely use the borrower copies and give them a few different variations just to make sure all bases are covered. Guys, this was great. Thank you, Janine. I want to take a pause real quick. Both Carol and Laura have some announcements. Carol, let's start with you. Carol, you were the first to ask. You want to tell us what's going on?
Unmute.
Unmute me. Oh, just when the phone rings, of course. Okay, couple of things. First of all, somebody mentioned about a book that they want to know about books. I have to tell you, it's a family thing. My brother spent 19 years living in Bolivia with his young bride, running an orphanage. They ended up taking over this orphanage, and he wrote a book. And I have just now gotten around to reading it, and it's caused me laughing and tears. I can't remember. I think it's called My 19 Years Living in Bolivia. And if anybody wants a good read, it's available on Amazon. It's very inexpensive. And it is the most country. Oh, My Other Country. That's what it is. My Other Country. His name is Jim Schultz, Schultz. And I'm telling you, it is just amazing. I'm reading it on my tablet. First time I've read a book on the tablet. That's number one. There's a scam that's going out. I'm getting more and more calls from students. They're targeting notaries for sure. It is when they call you, the sheriff's department from Orange County, at least in California, shows up. And it's like a legitimate number. That's what you see on your phone when they call you, so you answer it. And what they do is they say there's a warrant out for your arrest. A judge has issued a warrant because you did a notarization on a fraudulent document, and you state that you didn't do it, it wasn't you, but they're going to arrest you anyway. And so what we'll do is have you come to the sheriff's department. You're going to have to post bail for $5,000, but we can only take it in certain forms of payment. So you have to go get these Visa cards, and they tell you exactly where to go to buy the Visa cards. And then you're supposed to meet them there. And he said, it is so real. They sound real. Everything looks real. I mean, you'd have to be kind of not really smart to do it, but it is a warning. And if you do get it, you need to call and report this thing, because it's becoming more and more. I've got more calls now than I have lately. Okay, also, printer guy in Texas, I already told you about. I also want to mention once again, if you are AMROC, if you work for AMROC, do not use an electronic journal, Notary Act or anything. Apparently they don't tell you this, but I mentioned a couple of times ago that we had a student who was making a lot of money, like $2,000 a week, just from AMROC. And they found out he was using a Notary Act journal, and he has never worked for them since. He lost all of that income, and he wasn't even aware of it. So just that note. And then one other thing, I think I want to introduce Matt Miller, who everybody knows again, just because of something that I received from him in the mail. This involves only California, but I'd like for him to have just a couple of minutes, if nobody minds, just to tell us what he's doing, because this is horrible for notaries. And if this spreads, we're all out of business. So Matt, where are you? If it's all right with everybody, is that okay?
Sure. Thanks, Matt.
Okay. Matt,
Hey
I'm out
guys.
of here.
Thanks, Carol. Appreciate it. So we in California are facing a new ugly monster rearing its head called worker reclassification. And this started last year with an effort to reclassify Uber and Lyft drivers into employees, which they have since done. And then just today, actually, I read an article where the Cal Supreme Court has ordered Lyft and Uber to reclassify their drivers as employees. Now, as you can imagine, that's pretty messy for both the drivers and the companies themselves, because now, being an employee, they can obviously pay you an hourly wage. They can tell you when to work, when you can't work. You have to follow all of their rules and guidelines, and they will tell you how to get the job done. Versus being an independent contractor, you say who, what, where, when, and how. So now there's a bill in the California legislature. It's actually in the Senate now. It's stuck in committee, which is a good thing, and I hope to keep it there, that would go further and would affect basically all independent contractors, because it removes the individual exemption. So that means if this thing passes, that means that anybody who works as an independent contractor for a company, so for example, title companies, signing services, law offices, any kind of B2B work, those companies would have to classify you as an employee as opposed to an independent contractor or service company. And they are handing out some exemptions. For example, the real estate appraisers have received an exemption to this new bill on the floor, and we are also fighting for an exemption for notaries. And that is one of the major reasons. Bad legislation, RON, and all of these things are not going to go way. They're going to keep popping up year after year, and that is why I have now formed a nonprofit advocacy league for California notaries called the California League of Independent Notaries. And what we do is we advocate for and on behalf of California notaries, and we lobby for legislation that strengthens the Office of Notary Public and protects our consumers. So I invite all California notaries to join the League and make your voice heard, because the way that other industry groups like the real estate appraisers have gotten their exemption is because they do have an advocacy group. And I think it's time that California notaries now do too, because if there's anything we've done in California well, is we have turned this into a great career opportunity. And I certainly don't want to see that to go away for anybody. You know, Carol and I were talking about it yesterday, and you know, this threatens the jobs of not just, you know, tens of thousands of notaries, but hundreds of thousands of Californians in general. So we got to fight this one. This one truly is a calling all cars moment for the notary community. And we need everybody engaged, everybody involved. And, you know, it's going to behoove you more than anybody else. So if you have any questions, please feel free to visit the website, calnotaries.org. You can email me at info@calnotaries.org, and you can join and get listed in our online directory today. The website serves two purposes. It's a community platform for members, and it also is a way to help get the word out and our face to the public. So I look forward to lots of new members. I look forward to fighting for notaries, and I look forward to getting us a voice and keeping our seat at the table in Sacramento for many years to come. Thanks a lot.
Awesome, Matt. Thank you very much. It's huge. Thank you for that. And thanks for being the voice for the notaries. Laura, over to you.
Okay, so mine is for an announcement for those of you who take assignments from Timeo's. I took an assignment from them over the weekend, and in their instructions in big red capital letters, it says, you must use the title Notary Public on the Patriot Act form. No exceptions. I responded to them and let them know that that is illegal. I'm not allowed to use my title of office on anything except a notary certificate, and I will not do it. Would they like another notary to take the job? And they did not get back to me. So when I did the job, because I didn't want to leave the signer hanging on a Saturday night, I did the job. I did not use Notary Public, and I sent it back. And they still haven't contacted me that I didn't comply with their order. I have reported them to Chris Sturdivant, who is with the NNA and does their B2B stuff, and gave him a copy of what was sent to me as a notary signing agent on what they're instructing us to do, which is opposite of what we train, which is opposite of what we're allowed to do. So we're working on it. But I want you to know you may receive that instruction. It is not their place to tell you when you can use your title of office. That is your place, not theirs. And I don't care what state you're in. The title of your office, Notary Public, is for certificates, for certifications for which you're authorized to perform. The Patriot Act is not such a certificate. And we are doing them a favor under our signing agent hat to write down the IDs that we look at for them. So just want to make sure if you're getting those, just because it's in those big red capital letters, I want you to know that we are not allowed to do that. So now I'm also waiting to see if they'll pay me too. So sometimes that's how, you know, and guess who I have on the line for that? Legal Shield. Come on, bring it. That's what I'm saying.
Love it. Bring it. You're ready. Awesome. Thank you for that. Great announcements there. We'll jump into the questions here. Kenya, thanks for your patience. You want to unmute, tell us what state you're in, and ask your question. But don't forget the unmute part.
Okay.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Sure can.
Okay, so one of the problems I've been having lately is that when I get a signing from Zone Signings, and they cancel the appointment at the last minute, like 10 minutes before, and I'm at the door, then I don't get paid. How can I get around that part? Because when I filled out the application, it said cancellations must be at least an hour or two before the appointment, and there's a $50 cancellation fee. And yet they'll pay me for printing out the docs, but won't pay me for last minute cancellations.
Great question. So Kenya, I just want to stay consistent. What state are you in?
Oh, sorry, California.
Thank you. So Zone signings, usually, they're one of my favorite companies to work with. They're usually pretty awesome, and they're also very reasonable. So
Yeah.
if I like to reach out, I tell them I'm about to knock on the door, so I'll need the full cancellation fee. And they used to have a cancellation fee that was $50, plus they'd even pay you a print fee sometimes. So if they don't do it, you may have to make a choice. You know, I'm big into win-win relationships. If relationships stop becoming win-win, you stop doing signings with them.
Yeah.
There's not a recourse that you're going to have. You're not going to go to war and go to court over $25 or $50. You'll end up going broke. You just have to make the decision. Look, this company doesn't value me. I can no longer do signings for them. Carol, you've had some experience with this. Do you have any other advice that you offer people on non-win-win situations? Nope. Same thing. All right, good deal. Laura, anything else you would add to that?
I agree.
How's that feel, Kenya?
About what I was thinking. Like we're all in one accord.
You know
I enjoy working with them because actually I want to share a little bit of good news. My accomplishment is that summertime is hot as heck, and AC in my car went out. If it wasn't for all the signings that the end of the month, I wouldn't be driving a new car today because of them.
Wow. Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you, and I'm loving the AC.
I bet. I can't imagine life without AC. Well, congratulations. I'm so glad the business is going well. Also, one thing I'll add to the issue with Zoom is I always keep the big picture in mind, right? So when I was working with Zoom, I was getting so many signings from them that if they didn't follow through on a $50 payment, I didn't hold it against them because the volume way outdid it. Maybe it was a slip in bookkeeping. Maybe it was a supervisor that just didn't have the vision for the business. That was okay. I wasn't going to hold that against them. You get to make that decision for yourself. If it happens once, no big deal usually. But if it keeps happening, then that's something you might have to look at too.
Okay, I have one more question.
Sure, Kenya, what's up?
I suck at bookkeeping. And I haven't been doing it at all. I just kind of keep it in my head, like, okay, this is how much I spent in gas. This is, how much I did with the traveling and all that stuff. But since I bought this car, they put my notary as, being self-employed. So now I know, okay, is IRS going to look at that and say, okay, I got to still pay taxes? I don't know where to start.
Great question. You definitely have to pay taxes. You have to claim all income, but you'll need some guidance on this. So definitely get yourself a tax professional, somebody who can guide you along, maybe even an attorney, but usually a CPA or something that can guide you. And then also know that no matter where you go, they're going to need data and information. So I'm going to type in the chat window the 2 specialty notary bookkeeping accounting software program. That's a lot of words. NotaryAssist.com and NotaryGadget.com. Both are, literally when you ask notaries what's their favorite, it is 50-50 on who likes what. So get in. They both offer a free trial up to a certain number of signings, so you can get in and figure it out. They track your mileage. They let you set your fees. It keeps track of your customers, and they both have a little report that you can print out, and you can send it over to your accountant, and they take care of all that stuff for you.
Oh, awesome.
Super easy.
Are you a student? I'm sorry, are you a student of Notary to Pro?
No, I keep forgetting to sign up.
Oh no, I have an attorney, some tax people that give our people a discount. They're graduates. Never mind. Sorry.
Okay.
Well, on that same token, I'm glad Carol asked that. So Kenya, the reality is prioritize getting dialed into either Notary to Pro, Sign and Thrive, all of this community that we offer. There's tons of resources. There's help like this. Imagine a TNT call every day when you're dialed into a community, so you can learn these different resources and know that there's entire industry built on what we do all day, every day.
The three of us are the 3 steps to success.
Love it. Love it. And then the question for me, I do not use Notary Assist or Notary Gadget anymore because I own a signing company and neither one of them can help me there. So I'm transitioned to QuickBooks. And I hear somebody talking. Where's that coming from? Everybody muted? All right. Kenya, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for sharing your story. Nadia's. That's Nadia.
Yes, how did you guys know?
I just
You
hoped
figured
it was. How's it going?
That's
What
awesome.
state are you in?
I'm in California,
All right.
Los Angeles.
Wonderful. How can we help today?
I've got a couple of questions. I've been holding off for weeks because I guess I'm the last one to raise my hand. Couple of questions. On the missing cosigner, when you're doing the loan docs, if the other cosigner isn't present, I've had 2 conflicting answers. One, they said cross out the other signer, and then National Notary Association helpline said just use a loose leaf certificate and just acknowledge that it was just, that signer. What has been your experience?
First thing I want to do is just clarify that when you have a signing package and there's 2 people that are required to sign the document or the documents, but only one's in front of you, you never cross through the signature lines anywhere in the page. The only thing that we're talking about here in this example is what you're going to do to the notarial certificate. Now that I've said that, Laura, do you want to take over and kind of explain how that looks?
What state did you said California, you're Los
California.
Angeles?
Yeah,
Right.
California.
So California is a little different than some other states. In most states, it's perfectly acceptable to strike through the name of the person in your certificate who's not in front of you and just initial that and move on. California doesn't really give us a lot of freedom to alter the certificate other than the venue. And because of that, that's probably why the NNA hotline directed you to use your own certificate instead.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
All right.
Also conflicting answers on the rescission date, because I've gone over the National Notary Association, got my certificate with them as a loan signing agent, and then I'm going through another course. On the rescission date, let's just say no holidays, weekends. I'm signing the document today, which is the 11th. Now, some start the date tomorrow and then add 3 days. Some have said starting today, which is the 11th, that would make the end date the 14th. How do you guys?
It's not a personal opinion or a style. There's
right.
There's only one way to do it.
Right.
So you cannot count the day that they're signing. It starts the next day. And
right.
Saturdays count as business days. The only
right.
days you do not count are Sundays and federal holidays. But if you want to remove all thinking from it, just jump online and Google the NNA rescission calendar. It's a PDF. Yeah. It pops up every time. So you can just double check your work. That's what you do.
And there's lots of rescission calendars out there. By the way, if you Google rescission calendar, a lot of signing services have them. Some of them even include them in packages.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I first learned that it starts the next day of the signing, and then add 3 days to that. Okay. Yeah, and like I said, I've got different dates from different loan signing companies, which I was like, what? Should I be taking this course? Maybe not.
Well,
So,
and it's real easy to mix it up. That's why I go straight to the technology. Even in my head, you know, the easiest one for me is Monday. I know rescission ends at midnight on Thursday and the loan's going to fund on Friday, but I always double check because that can jam things up. That will stop funding if we don't get those rescission dates right.
okay.
I think
Next
it's
question.
extremely important that signing agents, when they're trained, they learn how and perfect figuring out rescission dates for themselves too. Calendars are okay, but they've got to know how to do it.
Yeah.
There's times
Right.
the calendar's just not available or something.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So just to be correct, if I sign today, rescission date starts the 12th, which is tomorrow, and then ends on the 15th. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Midnight on the 14th.
Midnight?
Yeah.
Technically,
Oh, midnight 14th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Technically, the loan would could fund on the 15th if the lender was open, but they're not. So the loan would fund on the Monday, the 17th.
Okay. Okay. Next question is more for Laura, because it's got to do with California. I've signed divorce documents that were from another state, and so I've had the signer sign on the documents, but because of the notarial wording is not California, I attached a loose certificate, and then I have signed on the documents where my notary signature goes, but I didn't include the stamp. Should I just not even sign the documents, Laura?
Right. So two things. One is if you're going to attach a certificate form, reserve your official signature and stamp for the certificate form you're attaching. Do not put it on the one that's on the document. Write "see attached" and initial that. Second thing is that many California notaries are under the impression we're not allowed to use out-of-state acknowledgments, which is not true. What is true is we are allowed to use any state's acknowledgement as long as it does not ask me to certify something I'm not allowed to do. And the main one for that is representative capacity, meaning they're signing on behalf of a company, like vice president of ABC company, another person, like attorney in fact, or representing an entity, like trustee of the family trust. If you see that, that's when you'll have to attach California instead. Otherwise, I always believe that the best thing to do is to try to use the language provided rather than attaching a certificate if it's legal for me to do so.
Oh, so I was under the impression that the notarial wording, you know, that goes into the rectangular box.
Yeah, the notice box.
Yeah.
Not required for out of state, neither is the penalty of perjury. Those are California elements that are not required to be in other certificates, but the document has to be going back to the state it's coming from. And if there were divorce documents, then they're probably going to be filed with the court or whatever agency back there. Nothing wrong with using their certificate as long as they're not signing in representative capacity.
Oh, or certifying. Okay.
And for any state, it would be or certifying something you're not allowed to certify. For instance, attorneys are famous for inserting comments or statements that don't belong in a certificate. And they might add, and he's been a resident of this state for 5 years. Or, you know what I'm saying? Or, and he's a US citizen. Or I know that this is a genuine copy of blah, blah, blah. These are not things, even if they were truthful, these are not statements that notaries are empowered or authorized to say in a certificate.
Gotcha. Right. Okay. Okay. That's good. Clears it up. Thank you so much, guys.
Welcome.
Thanks for being here, Nadia.
Thank you for having me.
I have to remember how to pronounce that name. Thank you. All right. DeAndrea, thank you for being here. You want to unmute, tell us what state you're in, and ask your question.
Hi, yes, I am in Texas. A quick question about the uniform residential loan application. because I'm getting conflicted information. The two signatures that go in the front on top, it says borrower, co-borrower, that's on the first page on top. I was told that's only signed when it's going to be a joint application. And I know even with Quicken, on their applications, they'll put no signature required. I was doing some signings out of a title office last month, and they wanted that first page signed by whether it was a single person or if it was a single person. So I'm just trying to get, what is the rule of thumb for signatures on that first page? If it's not a joint application, if it's, you know, a couple and only one is on a loan, or if it's a single borrower?
Great question. This is super confusing because if you do read that top box, it tells you if this is joint credit, please sign here. Right. So if you applied logic and it was a single borrower and neither of the two checkboxes in that paragraph were checked, you'd think, oh, well, this doesn't apply. I'm not going to have them sign. The problem is applying logic to this illogical industry sometimes backfires. And some lenders prefer or require that that be signed anyway. So a good rule of thumb, as long as the bottom of the page does not have a place for initials, the general rule of thumb is to just have them sign. A lot of signing companies, or a lot of notaries now just have them sign the top line as a single borrower. The thought behind that is if the lender does not need that signed, they can just print out another blank one and they're good to go.
Okay.
Now it gets a little more complicated if there's initials involved in those situations. In that case, you just want to print off an extra front page and you're going to have them sign an initial and then also just initial.
Okay.
And those are few and far between, but still.
Okay. Because I mean, I haven't been having them because of the language. If it's, I have not been having single borrowers signed up top, and I have never gotten it back. No one has ever said anything to me, so I don't know whether whether it's okay or maybe they're just reaching out to the borrower and just having them sign. I mean, I don't know. No one has never said anything to me. Exactly. It was just when I was doing the signings at the title company, they came back and said, "Oh no, this first page has to be signed." So I was like, okay, so I just do it for them when I work with them, or if it's joint credit.
Yeah. And that's the great point you bring up, because a lot of times they do require that. They won't come to the notary again and ask us to do it. They'll just email it directly to the borrower and have them sign on their own and scan it back to them. So we just never know. But if the client is asking you to do it, that's a good rule of thumb, is just to, as long as the signer doesn't have a problem with it, then you're good to go.
Okay.
All right, great question.
Thank you.
Guys, we have about 6 minutes left. So we're going to go to Chris Hall. Oh, real quick, Chris, sorry to interrupt. Chris Hall, you will be next. Prepare to unmute. Guys, we have 3 amazing prizes today that we're going to be giving away. If you haven't registered for them yet, please do so. The link is in the chat window. And if you're just listening, it's notarycoach.com/prize. You do have to be on this call right now to register for that. If you're listening to the replay, sorry. Catch us next week. All right, Chris Hall, thank you for being here. What state are you in?
I'm in Michigan, and I apologize for not lowering my hand because Laura answered my question on the Patriot Act form.
Oh, perfect. All right.
Because my great instructor, Carol Ray, was very clear on that form that you are a signing agent and not a notary public. So there's been lots of conflict, so I was going to address that, but thank you, Laura, for answering that. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, well, thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Leonard, thanks for being here. You want to unmute? Tell us what state you're in and ask your question.
How's everybody doing? I'm from Michigan. I have just a question for you. So I understand what the RINE is. I understand what e-docs are because those are electronic docs. But when a notary company or signing service asks you, do you have the capabilities of e-sign? What is that? And what's required to do that?
Yeah, great question. Carol, you want to take this one?
Yeah, if you're talking about what used to be called the e-signings and now are named something different, basically you're going to need a laptop computer. You're going to need printed documents, which they'll email to you. You're going to go to the borrower's home, hopefully use their decent internet. Some of the documents are wet signed. Some of them are signed online electronically. And you all sit together and you look at the computer and they sign their signature as directed. And that's it. The problem is, if you're living in an area like I am, where you've got really sketchy internet service, you can be halfway through 45 minutes of signing and you lose everything if the internet goes out for a couple of minutes.
So it's what they call a hybrid signing in, basically.
That's exactly right. They call them hybrids now, but they're the old e-signings the same way. If all the conditions are right, they take a little bit less time, but they give you so many documents to print that need to be wet signed. I don't know why they bother to do that on a computer stuff anyway, but that's basically what they are.
So you don't need a platform help or anything to do that, basically?
No, not for those.
Laptop.
No, not for those. Mm-mm.
Okay, got it. Okay, thank you.
All right, great question. Thanks, Leonard. All right, guys, I think we have time for one more. Trish Aikman, would you like to unmute? Tell us what state you're in and ask your question. Trish Aikman, unmute. There you go.
Hi, how are y'all?
Hi.
I have really sketchy, talking about sketchy internet, I have that as well right now. So I hope you're going to hear me. I have a question about social media. I had a social media manager for my last business that I'm still under contract, but she is about to expire. And so before I signed up with her.
Trish, I'm so sorry.
Can you not hear me?
We can't hear you. There's a lot of distortion and we can't understand you. Do you want to reach out to me privately?
Okay. Sorry about that.
Just shoot me a text, Trish. We'll get you covered. Lily. Last question, Lily. Want to unmute? Tell us your question. Tell us what state you're in. Did we lose Lily? I think we lost Lily. Okay, next, Rita Lewis from Illinois, I believe, right, Rita? You want to unmute? I'm starting to think it's me. Rita?
Oh, there we go. Got it. So quick question. On the Patriot Act, when you say put your title, do you have to write out loan signing agent or can you just write out LSA?
I always write out my title.
Oh, okay.
I don't use initials.
Okay. And then the second question is I've got a signing job this afternoon and I was on the phone with the signers. They informed me they're in a different town than what the request came through as. And then they informed me that the property that they're refinancing is in Florida and it's like their vacation home. And I go through the documents and I see there's a right to cancel. So not quite sure what to do at this point in time. Any suggestions?
That's a tough one because in essence it's illegal if they're stating it's other, if you know that it's other than their primary residence.
I came out and I came right out and asked them and they said, well, we want it to be our primary residence someday, but unfortunately right now it's I don't think it is.
Legally, to my knowledge, the only way they can get have the notice of right to cancel is on primary residence. Okay. How about you, Laura?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think that through. You know, I don't feel like my job is to get in the middle of things, but if something comes to my attention, then certainly I can share that with the hiring company and let them know that, hey, this has been brought to my attention, and let them figure it out.
That's what I've done over the years when we face that situation. It's sticky. It's hard to, you're not a lawyer. You're not a police officer, but
Right.
Yeah, I just like to observe and report in those situations as well. And we never know what the situation is. Maybe they're contract workers and they're up in Illinois right now, and they're planning on retiring sometime soon. And they bought their home as their primary residence, and the situation changed. We never know what the situation is, but I do like to pass that up the chain. To me, the biggest concern would be the fact that they're in a different town than you were originally hired for. So is it still convenient for you to do the signing? Would it affect your fee? Is it further away? Does it negatively impact you at all?
It's going to be further away, and it's probably in a different county too. But the thing is, I looked at all the paperwork. All the paperwork is already on the certificates. They all say state of Florida, whatever county it is in Florida. So I'm going to have to mark all those out and change them anyway. So.
Okay. You could possibly contact the hiring company to renegotiate your fee as well. That's what I would suggest.
Bill, this is Linda in Tennessee. Since the property's in,
but I don't think that he's given us the key.
All right,
yet.
guys, we got to keep ourselves on mute. All right, sorry, Linda, go ahead. Oh, sorry, Linda, go ahead.
Too many buttons for this person. Since the property's in Florida, would witnesses also come into consideration?
Florida does require a witness on their mortgage document. So that would be another consideration as well, Rita. So you'd have to reach out to the hiring company and just get clarification on that as well.
Actually, I did a double check one time, and they are not at what I was told. I called Florida that they no longer require that on security instruments, the witnesses.
They still require it, I believe, on deeds, maybe not the deed of trust.
That's right. No security instruments, conveyance instruments, yes, but no longer, even though they're using the old forms that say witness, they are not requiring those any longer. And I believe I called the governor's office in Florida and verified that. My dog.
So Rita, you'll probably want to verify just with the hiring company, because it's their responsibility to inform you of any of those types of needs that you would need.
Okay, yeah, I've sent out an email, and I just haven't heard back from them yet, and we're getting down to the midnight hour here, so all right.
All right, thanks, Rita.
Thanks for your help.
No problem. Okay, guys, we're going to wrap up right there. We're past the 1 hour mark, so we've been talking for 63 minutes here. We definitely want to give away some great prizes. I'm going to start. Well, let's just make sure in the chat window, if you're listening, it's notarycoach.com/prize. You only have to enter once, and you are eligible for all 3 prizes. And yes, you can win all 3 prizes if your lucky number comes up that whole time. But I'm going to mute everybody because, and then Carol and Laura, you're co-hosts, so you can unmute yourselves, of course. Carol, let's start with you. You got a really kind of a cool, unique prize that I had never heard of. And when you told me about it, I was thinking I would love to have one of these.
Did you get a picture of it?
Sure did. It's up on the screen right now.
Good. This is so cool. My daughter found this. I think she bought hers off of Amazon, but I think they're Target is Target was the least expensive, believe it or not, because Amazon's everything. That is a clipboard, and inside of that, and I don't know if you got a picture of the inside, Bill, or not, but inside there's enough room. On one side you keep your journal, and it stays on the bottom, and then on the other side you can put your stamps, you can put all of just everything that she needs, pens and everything, notebook things, all this stuff in this particular box, and it locks with a key. Yeah. They have combination, but sometimes if you're like me, you might forget the combination, so a key on your keychain would be the best. But anyway, so we're giving one of those away.
All right, we got 219 people in for this. Lucky winner is number 88, so bear with me as I toggle through here to the 88th person. And my new super fast internet runs slower than anything I've ever had before.
Hey, Carol, is that legal or letter size?
Legal. It is legal, yeah. Legal, are you sure? It is legal.
Legal.
Yeah, because she puts legal stuff in it. Okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry, give me 1 second, guys. Can you hear me okay?
I think it might.
Yeah, I hear you.
Legal.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
What was that? My name, did you say?
Right? I might have to switch to my phone here, guys. Hold on 1 second. I don't know what's going on. How's that for timing? Right when we, oh, here we go. Okay, so.
I've got a lot of people are asking what this is. It's just called a locking box. That's what I looked at. What is it?
Locking clipboard.
Locking clipboard. That's it. Locking clipboard.
All right, the winner of this for your records, Carol, is Giselle Gomez, sold by Giselle at Gmail. Giselle, you are the winner of the locking clipboard. If you want to reach out to Carol, Carol, is it just going to be notarytopro@gmail.com?
Yes, or she can give us a call at 916-777-5931 and give Barbara all of her information and we'll send it out to you. We'll have it shipped.
If you need that number again, it is just at notarytopro.com as well. They list their phone numbers. All right, beautiful. Laura, what'd you come up with? What are we giving away this week?
I'm going to give away one of my live trainings. A lot of you are familiar with my LBP pre-recorded replay library. But if you didn't know, I have 2 live courses that is one-on-one, so you get up to 2 hours with just me and you. And
Awesome.
those 2 hours are either going to be notary, I call it Notary 101, which means your state, your laws, what's going on for you, and how do you make that work, and what are things you might not know in your state. So I do a lot of research on your state first before we meet. The other one is called the mock signing. And the mock signing is actually live going through, you have a set, I have a set, and we talk through how we, introduce the documents, questions that come up about the documents, best ways to be most efficient with your documents at the table. So either one of those, pick one or the other, you can pick either one, up to 2 hours with me.
Awesome. So let's see how many people we now have for this. We are up to 222. Next number is 126. Bear with me 1 minute, guys. I just have to go one more screen, I think. Oh, one more screen. Okay, great. Okay, so it looks like LaTanya Bryant, going by Tanya. Tanya, you are the winner of the private coaching session with Laura Biewer. Congratulations.
So I just need you, Tanya, to reach out to me, Biewer at sbcglobal.net. And then you'll tell me which one you would like, and that's the one we'll do.
Awesome. I am emailing you her email address right now, Laura, so you've got that in your records as well. Okay, guys, we're going to give away one more prize here. I am going to give away one of my favorite bags ever, the Notary bag it's the KT Crazy Horse bag. This is the best Notary bag I have ever used. I absolutely love it. My mom gave it to me for Christmas a few years ago, and it's amazing. So let's see how many people we have now in here. 224. All right, here we go. All right, let me go backwards a little bit, guys. Bear with me 1 second. We got number 108 is the winner. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Angela Cooney. Angela Cooney, you are the winner of the Crazy Horse Notary bag that I use. Congratulations. If you would please shoot me an email just to orders@notarycoach.com and I will get that shipped out to you right away, and you should have it within a couple days, as long as Amazon's not running out of that too. Congratulations, everybody. Thank you so much to Carol. Laura, thank you for carving so much time out of your day for our Notary community. And of course, for everybody who's on the call, thank you for growing yourself and your business. On the Tuesday, we'll see you same time, same place next week. Bye-bye.